what things or barriers might make it hard for you to forgive your spouse or to give grace to your spouse? And how do you overcome those things?
Yeah, most of the barriers that you're going to experience in that are personal.
Okay.
So,
can you tell me what you mean by that?
Like past trauma, past issues where you were met with disappointment, where you were met with people were untrustworthy in your life. That's going to carry into how you think about the actions of every person thereafter.
Yeah.
So, including your spouse. And you're going to come in with those just natural default settings that is going to be a barrier to you quickly extending grace in periods where it's needed.
That's good.
So I think just being aware of the things that have happened in your past and really paying attention to those, not just trying to forget your past, but say, what lessons do I need to pull from my past to inform my future is really important.
And how would you say somebody should do that? I'm talking in a very practical sense. Like, let's say you're newly married and your spouse does something that kind of cuts you deep, and maybe you're lucky enough to be able to recall like why that hurt you so much.
Yeah.
Like, how do you walk forward in forgiveness?
When you know,
like when,
maybe,
like let's say you've been blessed
aware.
let's say you've been blessed with the ability that you are aware at this moment why that hurt so much.
Okay.
What would you say is the best way to go forward and forgiving? Like, would it be good for you to explain why? Like, should you explain?
Not good, but necessary.
Okay. So you should say, hey, what you did really hurt me because of.
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be in place because so many people, they know exactly why this, well, let me rephrase that. A lot of people aren't really aware of their emotions or why this affects them in that way. But if you're aware enough that you can recall the situation that happened to you before that's informing your hurt currently and why it's preventing you or you're having a difficult time extending forgiveness or grace or whatever you need to extend to your spouse, I would just say if you're at that point, great. You're so much further ahead than a lot of people.
Yeah.
But you have to tell them about that situation when you're able to come and bring that forgiveness and that grace and be like, hey, I want to forgive you. This just hurt me in a particularly significant way because of this situation in my past. And I need you to know that so you can understand why this affected me in this way.
Yeah.
Because it's something where that person didn't have your experiences. They didn't have your life. They might have shared similar experiences, but they're not your experiences. Your experiences are your own, and they affected your life in a singular way. It will not be similar to anyone else in this world. It affected you singularly. So you need to really make your spouse, who you're in this union with, aware of the situation so that they can really walk lightly when it comes to things related to that incident.
Yeah.
And I just think so many people might get to forgiveness, might get to giving grace, might get to whatever is necessary to kind of move the relationship along, but they still leave their spouse wondering on what just happened. Because they're like, wow, they really reacted in a way that I think is just overblown for what occurred. Because to that spouse, most likely it wasn't a big deal, and they can't understand why you thought it was a big deal, because they weren't made aware.
Yeah.
So awareness is just really helpful for your spouse to be able to grow and actually not do that again, or not, or tread lightly when things like that come up again.
Yeah, be more sensitive in that area. Okay, so on this same question, what if you don't know? What if something hurts you a lot and you're like, this made me really upset and I can't even tell you why?
So I'm going to back up a little bit, only because I think it's really hard if you're already at that point where something has already occurred and you don't know why it's affecting you that way. Most likely you won't even react with that. You won't even have that.
You'll like hide it.
You'll react, and not only will you, like, you'll never say, I don't know why this is affecting me in this way. Because it affects me.
Yeah.
And that's enough.
Yeah.
So back up a little bit. I think before you get to those points where it's already affecting you and you're already reacting. You can't help that, but what I want to do is inform what you can do before that to prepare.
Okay.
Because I just think that's really, I don't think there's much you can do, honestly. I think you're just going to have to get past in the best ways that you know within your current knowledge and wisdom on how to go forward in that situation. Get past that, work towards preventing and preparing for future situations.
Right. And can I speak into that for just a minute?
Yeah.
Because then I want to hear what you can do to prepare yourself.
Okay.
But I would say probably if you're in the midst of it where you're already upset and you're just kind of mad that why didn't my spouse why don't they know that? They should know that, and you don't understand maybe why it's affecting you so much. A lot of times just taking even a couple days to just think about it. Not brew on it. Like not continue to get madder and madder at your spouse, but like think about why did this upset me so much?
Yeah.
And maybe even like if you're somebody who likes to journal, I don't know, some people aren't into that, but really thinking through like what parts of this made me upset, because sometimes that leads you to the root cause of why it was so hurtful. Right.
That's why I think get through it, do work afterwards.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself up that this happened
right.
and you weren't prepared for it.
And maybe don't
Just
beat up your spouse
on.
that much either.
Right,
like give yourself some time
That's
to
why
figure
you give
out.
grace. That's why you give grace, because you're always assuming that I have something else to learn.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe this situation happened because I have something else to learn.
Not just your spouse, like yourself. You have something to learn.
Exactly. And if we're both giving 100%, we will come away with a problem or an incident or something, a miss in our relationship with that mentality where we need to come away and say, what did I do wrong that led to that? That's 100%.
That's 100%.
That's 100% ownership. 100% means I own this.
Yeah.
So if it happened, I got to figure out why.
Yeah.
Not, I hope they get their act together. That's not 100%. And I said this in the last podcast, that's the government.
Yeah.
Democrats and Republicans are always waiting for the other person to change and grow and become enlightened.
Or mess up.
That's not going to happen. Yeah. You need to come in 100% that this is my problem to figure out and I'm going to do the best I can to fix it.
Yes.
To alleviate the situation, to do whatever is necessary to grow, to become what I need to be for my spouse. If the government did that, we would have a different country. But we can do it in our marriage relationships. Once you get past that incident and you're preparing for the next one that's going to come. I think the work that you can do is actually with your spouse. I think the best way, because of how blind you will be to your own emotions, to your own past, and how it informs your future, is to do it with your spouse.
And explain what you mean.
So if that's the safest person in your life that you can actually express these situations to and ask them to identify maybe some blind spots in your own life on how those times, those really kind of pivotal incidents in your life might be affecting you now in how you react to things and how in your current actions and the way you speak and the way you, they're going to have, because they are in such close proximity with you and because they love you, they pay such close attention to every action and reaction and facial expression that you have. They're going to be able to inform you in so much better of a way than you just sitting and meditating on these things and hoping to come up with ways to identify how this is affecting you now and in your current relationships.
So you're saying to take time to sit with your spouse and ask them, what do you notice about the way I respond in these situations? And then just get their feedback. Is that
Not
what you
respond
mean?
in these situations. Let me tell you about this in my past.
But what?
Now, from that, how do you think this situation is affecting me now? Do you notice anything from maybe what happened here and how that made me feel and how that might inform the way I react to things in present day
So
in our relationship?
You're saying go going back to things that have happened in the past and saying, how do you think that event affects today? Okay, I misunderstood you at first.
Right. And that's a big emotional growth point.
Yeah.
You always have to go back to go forward.
Yeah.
You have to not bury your past, but not even embrace it. That's a terrible way to look at it too. But you need to face it.
Yes.
and learn as much as you can from it, because it does define you.
It doesn't have to.
No, it doesn't. But it does until you actually face it.
Yes.
It does
It
define.
controls you.
It controls you, and it does define you until you face it and learn from it.
Yeah.
Until that time, you're defined by your past.
Right.
And I say, as a Christian, I don't believe that your past defines you.
Right.
I believe in forgiveness. I believe that God does cast your sin as far as the east is from the west. I believe that.
Yes.
But in my humanity, in my flesh, I know that my past is still affecting my mind, and it's still affecting my soul, and it's still affecting my habits.
Right.
So I need to face those things so that
you can be free of it.
I can be free of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.